blood. So the hormones are controlled by the endocrine system. So our endocrine system includes two types of glands. One is the exocrine gland, the other is the endocrine gland. So you need to know what is the difference between the exocrine and the endocrine gland. Just imagine a water bottle filled with water. You can compare this with an exocrine gland. Why? Because exocrine gland will have a specific duct to carry their secretions. Say for example that water bottle is your gland and the water is the secretion. You can locate the examples like pancreas, liver, sweat gland, sebaceous gland, lacrimal gland, salivary gland, etc. So these are certain glands which will have a duct to carry its secretion. Say for example, saliva is secreted from salivary gland, sweat is secreted from sweat gland. Sebum, it's a type of oil secretion in our body to remove dust and dirt, that is secreted by the sebaceous gland, and lacrimal gland is the tears. So all these have a duct to secrete their secretions out. So they are called exocrine gland, which has a duct to carry their secretions, and they directly do not drain in blood. Whereas endocrine gland are called the ductless gland, which means, now imagine we don't have any water bottle, how the river flows. Just like that, the river flows like anything. So similarly, the endocrine gland are ductless gland which doesn't have any ducts, so they directly drain into blood. So there are certain examples of ductless gland: the pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, the testis male, female. So do you know which is the largest gland in the exocrine? The liver is the largest gland in the exocrine. And can you guess what would be the largest in the endocrine? The thyroid is the largest gland in the endocrine. Now let us explore each and every gland. First is the pituitary gland. This question can be asked in 5 marks, either in 5 marks, 2 marks or 3 marks. It can be asked like locate the different type of glands, or sometimes they may ask you the hormone secreted. Sometimes they can also ask the functions of each and every gland. So that can be asked in 2 marks, 3 marks or even in 5 marks. So be prepared. So coming to the structure of the pituitary gland, the location is near the forebrain, and this pituitary gland is called the master gland. It is called the master gland. Why? Because it controls all the other glands doing a varying function like production of different hormones. So here are the certain list of hormones secreted, like the growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, prolactin, antidiuretic hormone, oxytocin. So these are certain hormones that are secreted by the pituitary gland. So that is why it is called the master gland. So it is located in the forebrain. So sometimes you can see after puberty, some boys or girls, they grow suddenly, and in some you can find gradual growth. It is all because of the growth hormones that are secreted by the pituitary gland. So it regulates growth and development. In some people you can find the growth exceeding to the threshold. If it is more than 7 feet, you call that condition as the gigantism. And if it is less than 4 feet, you call that condition as the dwarfism. And in some cases, the body develops abnormally. So you call that as acromegaly. So pituitary gland, it plays a major role in the production of growth hormone that regulates growth and development. Next is the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, it secretes a hormone called thyroxine. Location is, it is located near the neck or the throat region. So this thyroid gland, it is initiated or it is mainly controlled by a substance that we take regularly. Can you guess what the substance, children? Without that we cannot eat any food. Iodine, the common salt that we use, so that carries iodine. So you could have seen an advertisement saying iodized salt. So what is that iodized salt? The salt rich in iodine. So that iodine is necessary for the production of thyroxine. So if the thyroxine is imbalanced, it is all because of the iodine that we intake. So if you intake excess, that will also lead to a problem. If it is less, that can also lead to a problem. So you call these two conditions as the hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Hypo meaning less and hyper meaning high. So if the iodine intake is not proper, it can lead to less hormone secretion. You call that as hypothyroidism, and more hormone secretion, you call it as hyperthyroidism. So these are the symptoms of hypo and hyper. So if it is less hormone secretion, that results in a condition called simple goiter, cretinism in young children. And in hypothyroidism, if the hormone is high, you call that as Graves' disease or exophthalmic goiter. So this Graves' disease, it exhibits a symptom like the person will have protruding eyes, which means the eyeball, it look like as though it is falling off. So it is called as protruding eyes, and you can also find the person face swollen, puffness or swollen face. And in case of cretinism, mental retardation in young children, that attentiveness will not be there in young children. It is all because of iodine, improper iodine intake and less amount of thyroxine hormone. And we call this a new word called the goiter. So goiter is a specialized symptom where the thyroid gland will swell like anything, and you can also call it as bull's neck. So the thyroxine is mainly initiated by the iodine that we intake. Very important function is it regulates the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins and fat, that is the BMR. So the complete metabolism is maintained by the thyroxine. That is why thyroid gland plays a major role in our growth and metabolism. Next is the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland secretes a hormone called adrenaline. So this is also called as fight hormone, flight hormone or emergency hormone. I asked you a question in the beginning. We get excited sometimes and we get goosebumps when we listen to any music. It is all because of the adrenal that is produced. So that is why they are called emergency, flight and fight. Just imagine, children, a lion is chasing you. What will you do? Some will chase the lion, some will fight with the lion, and some will hide, and some will run like anything. So all these emotions are mainly by the adrenaline secreted. And one common function of this adrenaline is it reaches the target site and the target organs, which means I told you these endocrine glands are ductless gland which does not have any ducts to store. So once if you face any situation, the adrenaline will be synthesized in your body excessively, and they reach different organs, and reaching the different organ, that particular site you call it as the target site. Say for example, if the hormone reaches heart, that reaching point is target site and heart is the target organ. Okay, so this adrenal, they directly drain in blood and reaches the target site and target organs. So it maintains the regulation of blood pressure, heartbeat and carbohydrates metabolism. So that is why too much of emotions is not good for health. The next is pancreas. Pancreas, this is also called as dual gland. Do you know why? Dual meaning two. So pancreas, you could have heard this word before in digestive system. So it produces lipase. Very good. So these pancreas, they produce hormones as well as they produce enzymes. So that is why it comes under both exocrine gland as well as endocrine gland. That is why you call it as the dual gland. This can be asked in 1 mark or 2 marks sometimes. The hormones secreted by pancreas are insulin and glucagon. So the location is below the stomach. So the main function of insulin is maintains blood sugar level. See, we have a very common problem with every individual these days is the diabetes. So everywhere, wherever you go, you will find people saying I'm diabetic. It is all because of the improper production of insulin. We have another hormone secreted by the pancreas is the glucagon. So this glucagon, what they do is it will convert the stored form of energy into glucose. So sometimes we may not have a breakfast, but still we feel active. It is all because of this glucagon. This will convert the glycogen stored to glucose to perform various functions. So insulin maintains your blood sugar level, whereas glucagon helps in increasing the glucose level if in need. So if there is an increased production of glucose, you call the condition as diabetes. So diabetes is a condition where if insulin is not produced by the pancreas properly, that leads to this condition. Next is the male and female gland. So this is a very important gland in male as well as in female. So the location is the lower abdomen or the genitals. So in case of male, after puberty you can find certain changes in the male child, like exhibiting mustache, beard, acne development, and you can also find the development of genital organs, hair growth in their armpit and the chest region. So it is all because of the hormone testosterone, which is also called as androgen. So this hormone is responsible for all the changes with puberty and exhibiting all the secondary sexual characters. Secondary sexual character meaning the characters that differentiates male and female. Coming to, so this testosterone, it helps in the production of sperm, so which is the sex cell of male. When you take female, the hormone produced by female are estrogen and progesterone. Again, so the estrogen and progesterone are responsible for the female secondary sexual characters and the puberty changes. In female, you can see growth, gradual growth, breast development, onset of menstruation cycle. So it is all because of the hormone estrogen. And female produces egg, fertile egg. So you call that process as ovulation. We shall see all these topics in detail in the coming chapter. So the hormone produced by male is testosterone and the hormone produced by female is estrogen and progesterone. The main function of male hormone is production of sperm and female is ovulation, that is release of fertile eggs. So this is about the detailed picture of all the glands. You can find it here. The thyroid gland. So first is the thyroid gland. I told you the location is near the neck or the throat region. So let us have a fast summarization. So what is the hormone secreted by the thyroid gland? The thyroxine. The main function of the thyroxine is it maintains BMR, that is a body mass ratio or the index. Then comes the pancreas, which is located beneath the stomach. And the hormones secreted by pancreas are insulin and glucagon. So insulin, it lowers your blood sugar level, whereas glucagon, it raises your blood sugar level. So pancreas, they are also called as a dual gland because it helps in secretion of hormones as well as enzyme production. The third gland is the adrenal gland. I told you the adrenal gland is responsible for flight, fight and emergency condition. It reaches the target organ and the target site. So it is located above the kidneys. So the hormone secreted by adrenal gland is adrenaline, which plays a major role in reaching the target site and the target organs. Next is the male testis. So this is the testis, which produces a hormone called testosterone. This testosterone is responsible for all the puberty changes and the secondary sexual characters. The main function is it regulates the production of sperm. So the location is the genital region. or the lower abdomen. And coming to the female, ovary. So ovary produces hormones like progesterone, estrogen. So estrogen is responsible for all the secondary sexual characters like breast development, onset of ovulation in female. So sometimes these pictures can be given and they might ask you to locate what type of gland, or sometimes they can ask you the hormones produced or even the functions.